I think my mic is on. There we go. Okay, there we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of Watchers on the Wall. As always, I am Roy Rogers of the White Book and Second Sons, if that podcast still exists. And I am joined today by just one of my co-hosts from the Second Sons, from the Wars to Come, Jesse Carpenter. Before we get started, I want to apologize for not having an episode last week. I was traveling, and we just weren't really able to coordinate anything. Things are really busy in my personal and professional life right now, so it's not always easy to give you all the content you crave. But we are here tonight to talk about this absolutely amazing episode of Game of Thrones, right, Jesse? Did you just
amazing
hear Al in the background?
Amazing is a bold word.
So it could be awesome in the traditional old-fashioned biblical sense of the word. It was
Sure.
awe-inspiring in that way. You know, like the Nazis at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark and how they were awed to death.
Yep.
That sense of the word awed. So, what did you think, Jesse?
So like, I came into this episode almost as honestly, as lackadaisically as I could. I think everyone who knows me or has heard me talk knows that they're not telling the story I want to tell anymore. So I tried to look at it just as the story that they want told, and I think this episode visually was the most pleasing. I think that they did a lot better cinematography and stuff, and like the gore and stuff like that. But I just, I still, it breaks my heart because I still just I don't think I could be let down anymore, and it happens over and over. And
Yeah.
I just, you bring up I have no idea.
Shirt, by the way, today.
You just build up this really, really strong female character over 8 years, and the one thing it's almost like an episode of It's Always Sunny. It's just don't be your dad, don't be your dad, don't be your dad, and then it scrolls across. Danny becomes her dad. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I think. I have a similar attitude to you. I think I did a good job last week of mostly managing my expectations from the previous week. Mostly because one of the advantages I guess I had is I was traveling, and so I was alone in my hotel room, which sort of made it easy for me to manage expectations because I could just go watch all episodes of Deep Space Nine, which is what I was doing before Thrones and what I did after Thrones. So it was very plus. I thought I was ready for this episode. I was like, okay, they are gonna make Dany the Mad Queen. They are gonna do all this. She's gonna burn King's Landing to the ground. Everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, what did we do? Why did we invest ourselves in this person for 8 years? Which is, I guess, how the fans are supposed to feel too. What? And it was worse than I thought it could be, because I did not expect. Well, that's not true. I didn't expect it to be structured the way it was structured. And I'm not even going to care about going this scene by scene, because I think we just got to hop into that scene where the Lannister troops surrendered to Dany. And I just thought immediately, as soon as they started to surrender, Dany was just going to blast them, and then the fight would continue. I was like, okay,
Yep.
I can follow that. Like, Dany's just not taking surrender. But no,
from the army.
From
yeah,
the
army.
army.
I thought that was the direction she was going to go, and I was ultimately fine with that. It's not what I wanted to see, but the standoff, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to happen in that context, where she chose not just to burn the army down, but burn the whole city down after it
Well,
surrendered.
I knew it was coming when they showed us that mother and little girl more than once.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they
Yeah.
showed us the mother and the daughter more than once, I was like, oh, they're dead. They are super dead. I don't know. Hey, real quick, Roy.
Yep.
Has this ever been like this? People say they can't speak in your chat room until they subscribe.
What? That's
Is that
weird.
like new?
Let
I've never
me.
had that happen.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Let me give me a second. Might have somehow subscribers only mode might have gotten turned on. Give me a second. Um. Give me a second. Creator dashboard. Um. Let's see. Did somebody subscribe?
I did,
You did. Thank you.
and then Maddie did too.
I didn't mean to have subscribers only mode chat.
I used my Twitch Prime for it too.
Thank you, Sandy. Then really,
uh,
channel settings. Here we go. Um, rage drops, moderation, chat privileges, followers only mode is off. Moderator in chat. Let me see if there's another thing. This shows you that I am not a Twitch person, so. Let me see where the settings are here. It doesn't say followers only. It shouldn't be. I'm super confused. Well, thank you both for giving me $2. There's a subscriber room, a moderator room. Oh my god. Wait, watch this. Hold on. I'll Google it real quick. Turning off subscriber.
Sorry guys, we're trying to figure this
only
out so we can all
mode.
chat.
Chat commands. Here we go. This is great. Subscriber only. Okay, cool.
Just use your Twitch Prime.
Subscribers off. Yes, this is all my attempt to get $2 out of everybody. All right, let's try it now. All right, did it work?
Yes. All right.
All right.
We're all in.
All right.
First
I just
bowl
apparently
game in
had
9
to.
years to tie.
There we
Okay,
go. This is
now
gonna
we
be
can
great for
actually-
the YouTube video.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Sorry about that. We fixed it. Apparently, when they made me affiliate, this is what happened. So I'm sorry. You know how I'm the hyper capitalist here. I want your $2 of free Amazon stuff. Then normally I just give mine to Buzz, but anyway. So where were we? Okay. I think thinking about it though, we should probably just go character by character. So I think starting with
Yes.
Danny is just the best way to go. So yeah. So what were you saying, Jesse? You like I thought that this was gonna be the North's about to. John's like Danny's gonna take the surrender. Danny's gonna take the surrender, and instead she just sort of flies in and blows them all up. Instead, like the
Yes.
conscious decision when they've surrendered and that like look on her face that I give Emilia Clarke credit. I was just like, no,
So
really?
I think that Emilia Clarke nailed what they wrote her to do.
Yeah.
I just. Oh, thank you. God damn, Alejandro. This was dog shit. I appreciate that. After all these weeks of fighting about it, I truly appreciate that. So I agree with this. A lot. I did not enjoy the direction they took with Danny whatsoever. I thought the Mad Queen thing was still going to play out, and we were going to see like the John and Danny battle. But like, my God, like killing Missandei and the other dragon just made her burn down all these fucking innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
Like brutally murder an entire city.
Well, the thing wasn't. It was also like what made it so weird to me is that she wasn't being indiscriminate at first. She was like, I'm just gonna burn the walls. I'm gonna burn the army. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna burn the fleet. I'm like, okay, wow. They're actually gonna like try and make this more complicated, more interesting than just like Danny's a crazy bitch. But no, they it was like the crazy bitch moment. Bitches be crazy, which is like the argument of this season. And like the fact, just like the decision to humanize Cersei in the end, and it's just like it's just like the emotional radar was wow, I super screwed my hair up. Was not where I expected the show to be at this point. Like because I think, and this is the point I said to Ala, like the anti-war message. I mean, that's the number one thing you take away from this episode. Like they're
Well,
trying to go for a similar thing of Battles of the Bastards.
and
Um,
it's not only anti-war this episode or this show. It's like George has said on record several times that he like war is bad for the poor. Like,
yeah.
war is bad for the common people. It's awful, and that was not the message that was
Well,
portrayed in
the
this.
thing is that message only works and when the good guys are doing it. Like there's a Swift interviewer talking about, oh, the good guys are just as being the villains now. But that only works like to me as something that is actually an interesting moral question when it's being done in the service of good, right? Which is like the greatest example of this is like the bombing of Dresden or the dropping the atomic bomb, right? These are things like horrible atrocities that were committed in the name of something that many people, particularly Americans, think is a good thing and was fighting against. I mean, we can all agree that the Nazis and fascist slash militarist Japan were the villains of World War II, but the United States
Yep.
committed horrible atrocities to defeat them, and particularly the dropping the atomic bomb. And it's an interesting moral question to explore that and what that means for the civilian population, what that means to people who are fighting, what that means to people who are ordering this. But Danny just deciding, fuck this shit, I'm just gonna burn these people, like after she's won, is not an interesting moral question. Just Danny's a villain. She's just evil. Like she's just evil.
And
There's
it
no
sucks.
and it just sucks because that's not interesting to me. That's not the human heart at war with itself. The classic Martin quote from Faulkner that they like to say over and over again about this stuff. It's just literally, oh yeah, in the end, Danny's is evil. Like the Targaryens are evil. Okay. Well,
And that really, really sucks because that is not the case. And I get it; it doesn't go through all the Targaryens in the show, but like that is not the case with every Targaryen. Like in any way whatsoever. Like this did not have to happen this way, and it did. All right, so I want to go back to some of the tertiary characters and go through
sure.
theirs, and then we'll come back to Danny because Danny and John here. That's going to lead into the next episode, obviously. So let's start with, I guess Varys. He was writing the notes. He had several, so we assume that like
He told a
all the
bunch of people.
bannermen. Yeah, we assume all the bannermen are going to show up to John's side,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I guess.
We didn't see any birds getting shot down or anything. Like he got several out. We saw at least 3 on the table, right?
Yep. And what was the
So
one
that
he was
showed
trying
that.
to burn? He burnt. I don't. Maybe that like he has a plan. Like I guess Varys has a plan. Um. Uh. That I guess we're
No,
gonna
there was.
like. This is like
So Parker, there were 3 on the table finished. 2 or 3 on the table finished when he was writing the first one at the beginning of the episode. They were already rolled up scrolls. So I do think he had several done, in my opinion.
I'm very pro Harry Strickland getting blown up. By the way, I did appreciate that the Golden Company seeming to be amazing and then getting massacred in 2 seconds. But anyway, just responding to chat. Yeah, I think that I mean this episode started on a sour note for me too, and maybe that's because I was invested. Like I find Varys being one of the moral voices of the show, which is something they've been kind of like building on for a while, is not good either. Because again, maybe I'm over invested in a vision of an interpretation of Varys where that involves I'm going to say it. I apologize to everyone. The books, which is that Varys is the ultimate schemer who's seemingly scheming for this perfect king and doing anything to get to this place, betraying everyone, destroying the realm, like in order to put this perfect person on the throne. The show's kind of changed that and said that he's always been this voice of moral reason and always put the interests of the realm first, which is also patently not true if you watch the second season. He's like where he props up Nazis because he doesn't like Stannis's magician girl. And sure, you can put your own beliefs ahead of that in that case. Like I just don't appreciate it. Doesn't feel complex to me. It just feels like the show wants certain characters to be moral mouthpieces so you don't miss the point. And turning Varys of all characters into that much less Tyrion, who we'll get to in a little bit, is just it doesn't sit well with me.
And again, the whole thing with Varys, like it just happened too quickly. Like again, they ran out of time and they're just throwing shit together very quick. It was fine, whatever. I just, God, the thing I am frustrated the most about that is like, no matter what Varys said to Jon, and no matter like how much Jon still loves his queen and backs her, it is not within Jon's character to just sit there and let her do that.
I mean, he was guilty though. Like, I mean, no one denies his guilt. Like, I think that I did that didn't feel like anybody, even Tyrion.
But burnt alive wearing Stark armor, like that does not sit right with me.
Fair.
You think Jon's ever going to be okay with people just getting burnt alive?
I think he would say to execute them himself. I mean, we don't know what Jon in the books is going to be like when he comes back, right? So, like, I think he'll be a harder character, but not.
Anyway, so
burning
Varys
cities
died
down hard, but we'll see.
Quickly, which I called it.
Yep. I don't. Did anyone not think he was going to die in this episode?
No, I just called that he died first,
Oh.
Which was nice. So then we move on to like the Tyrion Dany. So Tyrion's character. So Tyrion sees the end coming, but he still makes a decision to side with Dany,
hoping that she won't do it in the end.
Right.
And hoping that her good angels will speak to her because he has faith in that. I think what they're trying to go for is that he has faith that in the end Dany will make the right decision like she has in the past and not go full burn the city to the ground. And which is fine. I think that's actually was a very that aspect of Tyrion's arc here was very compelling for where they were trying to go.
Yep.
The fact that it got tied into the Lannister family bullshit that just still doesn't make sense to me. Like I get that the show made a conscious decision to not poison the Jaime Tyrion well, like what happened in the books. Like that was a conscious change in the adaptation. Fine. Why Tyrion remains so committed to Cersei blows my mind. Like I
have no idea.
Because I guess it's supposed to be like he cares so much about Jaime and Jaime cares about Cersei. Like I guess that's kind of like the through line that you can take, but it rings hollow. It's like over and over again he just goes back to Cersei, thinks the best of her, thinks that in the end she's going to make the right decision. But I guess it's supposed to parallel. I guess he's supposed to have faith in both of them that they would make the right decision. I guess is what it's trying to set up, that both of these women are going to fail Tyrion. I really don't know. Like I
have no idea.
I can't get around the Lannister family dynamic, and I haven't.
I don't understand it, and
Tyrion
I don't think this makes any sense to me. Like this, like the characters they have built them into. I'm not talking about the books. I'm strictly talking about the show. The characters they have built them into on the show. This does not fit Tyrion's character, and this does not fit Cersei or Jaime's. Like I don't know what the fuck is happening. So Tyrion essentially saves his life and then fucking has that awkward grasp on Varys. And then we see Tyrion and then we see Dany, I guess, talking to Tyrion being like, your next mistake is your last mistake. Or next time you fail me will be the last time you fail me.
Yep.
And that's like when I fully knew that she was just going to burn the city. So then we see Tyrion freeing Jaime, which is like I don't understand why he's committed to Cersei. I get that, but I do like the scene.
It paralleled the scene in the third season. Was it the fourth season?
So there are a lot of things that I try to keep the books and shows separate as much as I can, and it's very tough for me. It really is. Mm-hmm. But I have become attached to the actors that play Tyrion and Jaime.
They're good actors.
A lot more than I'm not attached to Tyrion at all. Like I hate Tyrion as a character. I've never been a fan of him. But I love Jaime. Jaime's my favorite character in the entire show. He's my favorite character in the entire books. Like I love Jaime. And that scene was really cool. In my opinion, I did enjoy that scene. I just didn't understand the dynamic of Tyrion being like, "Get Cersei out of here! Like don't let her die." Like I didn't get any of that. But I appreciated. I'm trying to be as positive as I can about the parts where I can be positive about.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
I do think Peter and Nikolaj, they have a good dynamic, and
They do.
I really
They've got
appreciate
great
that.
chemistry. I mean, the whole
I
cast
don't get
more or
why
less has
Tyrion
great
was just
chemistry.
like, "Yo, Unsullied, walk away." Like we don't see
Well,
like
yes.
Unsullied come back and be like, "Yo, where's Jamie? I guess we have the night off. Let's go have a beer with the boys." I
Look,
didn't. Like, I was like,
they've
"What
been
the
eunuchs for
fuck?"
a long time, man. Like they gotta enjoy their
Um.
life.
So then we see just next time we see Tyrion is just what him just seeing Jamie or we just see him. So we see the bell. He sees that we see his reaction to the bells getting tolled. We see like his sense of relief. They're like, oh, okay, he saved the innocents. Like Tyrion has saved the innocents again, or whatever, you know. The people of King's Landing. And then that doesn't happen,
And
and
we're
we
gonna get the
just like
consequences of that next episode. Like,
we do, but like,
I
shouldn't
think
we have
Danny's gonna
seen?
kill him. You know that, right? Like
For
that's
sure,
their
yeah, he's
yeah.
dead. But what shouldn't we have seen him throw his hand of the kingpin to the ground?
We'll get there. I mean, I truly don't know. Like, I think Tyrion exited this episode after the bells failed to bring peace. Like, we'll come back to Tyrion. We don't know. Like, did we see Tyrion very? Yeah, Ala thinks he died off screen. I don't think they're gonna do that. Oh, you hope. Okay, so she hopes that they died off screen. Um, yeah, I mean, basically, Tyrion's arc in the episode just ends at that point, right? He's a failure. His faith in
Yep.
Danny is not rewarded. So Danny
So
really
yeah,
is
then
just a white girl with
um,
an army of evil brown people burning the city to the ground. So
yep. So then I guess let's talk about Arya and the Hound and their thing, and then we can move on to John and
we
spend the
should do
rest of
John
the.
last because we haven't talked about Jamie really. Because
Okay, yeah. So I guess we could do Jamie now.
We could do Jamie and Cersei because, like, I still the show hasn't gotten a read on either of those characters in a way that has felt satisfying for me for a while. And this again, it's I more than you apparently cannot escape the books, but just in the end of the day, like Jamie not becoming disillusioned with what Cersei did to the Lannister cause and what Cersei has become is like I can't get over it. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Because the show's tried to have it both ways many times. Where Cersei's a villainess, she's backed herself into this corner, but then now she's super successful. She's committing great atrocities, so Jamie's like she won't come and help defeat the dead. But no, then Jamie comes back and goes, no, she's right. And it's just like I can't. I guess they're trying to play up that he's addicted to her, and then he talks about how he never cared about the people of King's Landing. Well, then how does that whole speech he gave Brienne in the show about why he killed the Mad King and his whole like emo boy complex about not telling anyone why he killed the Mad King? Like I don't like those two characters. They ended in just a deeply unsatisfactory way for me. And the playing as a great love story is just like apparently the only person in this show that understands that incest is a cultural and social taboo is Jon Snow. So the showrunners don't seem to get that. The Danny doesn't get that. Jamie and Cersei don't get that. Apparently Tyrion doesn't care anymore. Like
I much less care about that. I care that my favorite character just ultimately still fails to love. Like he like I don't know. I just like I want to see some like some real conversation uh to Cersei being like, what are you doing? Like, what have we become? Like, we deserve to be with each other. We deserve to die. Like, this is it. Like, but we don't. We just see him like being like, all that matters is us after he just went to the north and fought against the army of the dead. Like, it's like, there more matters than them. And I get that it's a tie back to earlier, and I get all that, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. I wanted them to die in each other's arms. That's always been the thing. I didn't want them to die by fucking bricks.
I mean
I didn't like that Jamie fought Euron.
that
I hated
that
I
was
hated that.
what was the point of that? Like the characters had no I mean I guess they had conflict over Cersei, but like
But
Like,
it's
who
the war for
cares?
the Iron Throne. It's not the war for Cersei's bed. Like, my God. Like, like, you literally had a perfect writing scenario to bring Yara back here. You even set it up.
Yep.
Like, Yara could have came back and killed Euron,
Yep.
or Danny could have just burnt him to the ground on
That's
that
what I was
boat.
hoping was going to happen. Uh, but when
And
you're,
then
yeah,
and then they fight, which it's fine.
the fight was terrible. I'll just be honest with you. It was not well choreographed. It was not interesting. There was no like emotional stakes. Like you knew. I mean, like if they had actually just killed Jamie there, like that would have subverted expectations since that's what they want to do. But no, it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to die there. So like I feel like the show always cared more about Euron than I cared about Euron in the context of the show. Like I always thought that fans and
I don't care
people were
about
more
this
connected to
Euron.
him. Like I just don't care about him on the show. Like since they introduced him, like the first season that he appeared in was just the character fell flat for me in a way that actually none of the other major characters really fell flat. Even the Martell storyline did not fall as flat for me as the Euron storyline did. In the end, I still felt semi-attached to the Sand Snakes and Elia and that horror
Yeah.
and that stuff way more than I do to Euron.
So,
But he
like,
stuck around until the bitter end, and had this seemingly huge conflict with Jamie. But
yeah.
it didn't ring. It was just like, okay, they're gonna fight. Oh yeah, of course Jamie gets
Well, they just like they just never nailed Euron. Right? They never nailed like this dark magical lord of the Iron. Like they never nailed that. And like you can say you like Euron or you don't like Euron, but like I believe that in the books that Euron is a true villain, and in the show he ended up killing a dragon, I guess. But it was just really weird. Like I don't think they quite nailed the role of Euron. He just seemed like a rock star that wanted to come in and sleep with Cersei. It was just really weird.
it was weird.
Um, but I didn't enjoy that scene at all, like between Jamie and Euron. But it happened. It did happen. And then Euron, this ultimate fucking villain, badass, his final words are, "I killed Jamie Lannister." Like, it's just fucking awkward. That's
The whole character's fucking awkward. Um,
poor writing.
I feel like in the end, like how Jamie and Cersei died. If Cersei's not the villain, which she's not throughout the episode,
Nope.
um, then that's as good an ending as Cersei gets. Like, if it's not Cersei and Dany, I thought this would be Cersei and Dany together destroying King's Landing. Um, but no, if Cersei's the victim here in the end, just like she's been the victim throughout her whole life, and you watch the walls that she built around herself, like like I get what they're trying to go here. Cersei's arc is she's abused, destroyed by patriarchy, and her quest for power was to build these walls around her to use the power that was used against her for her whole life to protect herself. And then, of course, watching that crumble, that's why you have the big her crying thing. There's like a level of tragedy there, which deep in me, I could feel where they were going for, but it just again didn't ring because it's Cersei Lannister. Like she is culpable in the deaths of all these people as much because she brought all these innocent people to use as human shields for her, and it just like rings false. Like a lot of the emotional beats in this episode to me.
Yeah, there's a difference between separating expectations and not completing character arcs. Guys, and I think that that's something that I haven't quite nailed on the head. But that is my biggest issue with this entire season, and especially with this episode. They just are not completing arcs how they should be. Like, they're just not doing what they built up for 8 years, and that's not subverting expectations. That's bad writing, in my opinion. That's just bad writing.
I mean, this is the fundamental question, and not the fundamental question. How do I put this? The show, and perhaps Martin himself, is going to full Mad Queen Dany. Like, that's where she ends.
God.
Like, I mean, like, that, like, this is something, I do not think that where Danny ends up can be radically different than where Martin intended. She is one of the three core protagonists of the show and the book. To change who like the fundamental endpoint of Danny is to do a whole different thing. And like, why wouldn't Martin in his outline make it clear like Danny goes full Mad Queen, dies at the hands of John, dies, I don't know, at the hands of Arya, like we don't know. But so if that's where she's going, that means all of us who thought that in the end Danny would choose mercy, would choose life over fire and blood, are wrong. And that's a really difficult thing, honestly, for me to wrap my mind around. Because I was committed to a version of the character who would go
Here,
through.
really quick to
Yeah.
Noah. What? Noah. He gave the writers a general outline. They have kept somewhat to that outline. There are things that they did not do that Martin disagrees with.
Sure,
We
but
don't know that. Like, we believe that this is how it will end. But
I just
we don't.
I cannot believe that they would jump the ship or steer the ship so far. I mean, there's so many different things. Like, do I think that Clegane Bowl in the books, which may happen, is going to be in this like beautiful anime video game final boss fight? Like in the books, like a novelistic version of that? No. But do I think that the showrunners are going to say the main characters are going to end up in the end in fundamentally different places than where Martin intended? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll never find out. If the conspiracy theories that are in our chat right now are true, we could find out soon. But
So it's interesting because, like, if we are to believe that book 6 is almost done, like, I do think that a lot of the things we're having problems with is the direction and the total character arcs. But, like, them combining characters are where a lot of things gets messy. Like, Danny will come to King's Landing for Aegon before any of this happens. Like, not having Aegon in the show is a problem.
well, there is an Aegon in the show. His name is Jon Snow.
Correct.
I mean, because I agree with you. Because my belief was always that Danny chooses fire and blood at the end of the 5th book.
Yes.
Which says to me that's not her end point of her character. That's the end of the 2nd act. That's like her dark moment. And that a lot of Winds of Winter is Danny going to be struggling with that turn to violence, where her problems in Dance with Dragons and the final part of the 3rd book are just so overwhelming. She's tired of all this bullshit. She thought ending slavery would be great, but she's just tired of dealing with all this fucking bullshit. And so she's going to fire and blood it all away. And she's going to show up in Westeros and just be like, look, I'm the queen, I'm going to burn some stuff. But that's not where her character ends up at the end, because there's also this struggle for fundamental life that's going on. And I think that Danny is going to see what she does in against Aegon and turn away from that.
I hope so.
But that's what I have for years believed about the character.
Yep. I mean,
but that's not what the show decided to do, which could mean, yes, that's what they chose to do. That's what made sense for them, particularly once they got rid of the Aegon plot. But at the same time, I just cannot believe that they're going to, like, if the show ends like this, where Danny takes Iron Throne temporarily and Jon kills her because out of justice, or Arya kills her because as revenge for what she did. That is such a fundamental thing about where the character should be. They have to have gotten that from Martin.
I mean, I think Jon kills her, but I thought Jon was going to kill the Night King too. So it might be Arya. Like, the pale white mare, that signifies death, right?
Yes, I guess. Does
Like,
the show
I don't
follow Martin's symbolism anymore? Like,
I don't fucking know. I have no idea. But, like, there's
the
no
whole
other
Cersei
symbolism for that
prophecy
white
didn't
horse.
come true. We are all the Valonqar, says Alla. So
There's no way that happens like that in the books. That they die under a bed of bricks or something dumb. Um, so I guess so. We see Arya and the Hound going together, and we see so now it's just the Arya and Hound show. Gendry's off ruling the Stormlands. I guess I don't know. Um,
Uh-oh. I think your camera freeze, Jesse. Move your head.
did it freeze?
No, it's unfrozen now. We're good.
Okay. Um, so then we see Arya and the Hound, and they're gonna go kill Cersei, I guess. And we know what the Hound is gonna do. And then they have that little cute scene, and that's cool, I guess. Like her telling Sandor, "Thank you." I appreciated that. I do like Sandor as a character a lot. Um, I think he's much more developed in the show, and I enjoy him. Truly, I do. And the one bit of fan service that I've wanted for this long, after they've just ruined my life with every other thing, was the Clegane Bowl, and we did get the Clegane Bowl. Um, this was one of the only few minutes of the episode I enjoyed. I actually enjoyed that episode. I actually enjoyed that part. I don't know that it was good. I just have been waiting for it for 8 years, so I was fine with it.
It was not how I expected it. I did not expect them to go full like superhero movie, anime, boss, video game, final fight, like just the whole way it's set, and it's just like it didn't feel
I
totally
actually think it's going to be a
the
lot
same.
easier to land this in the books than in the show, because like him being undead in the show was really weird, and like the green stuff, like I thought they nailed the makeup, but it felt out of place. And then like he couldn't die, which like I do believe that's how it will be. Uh, but it did seem a little out of place. But I
It
enjoyed
was
it.
pretty, like it was
I
well, like
did
it was
enjoy
well
it.
done for what it was. It just felt, I don't know,
And then Sandor said he was going to kill him, and he did. Them falling over the edge was cool.
into the fire
Uh,
together. Yeah,
hey guys, we know why the Battle for Winterfell was such dog shit, because they spent so much money just blowing up King's Landing this episode.
yep. That's why
Um,
Ghost couldn't get pets.
yep, I guess so.
Yeah.
Um,
Then that brings us around to John, and actually in many ways John's character in this show, in the episode, stayed the truest to the show's interpretation of him.
yep.
Because in the end, when things go crazy, he's like, "No, we gotta leave, we gotta leave, we gotta leave," and
So now, like, we're gonna see John and Grey Worm fight now, right?
almost certainly yes. I mean, like the question is, how are they going to resolve this situation? Like, is like Danny's army cannot be reconciled in Westeros, right? They just massacred everybody. There's no,
Yeah.
and the Lannister army is destroyed. So there's like no power left to oppose Danny. So the Unsullied and the Dothraki are not going to follow John. Like this is the situation, and so there's like a northern army. Like I'm just confused about where the political situation is at the end of this, which I guess will probably be made clearer at the beginning of the next episode. But there's like the northern army and the Vale army, and then there's the Dothraki and the Unsullied.
And now there's there's the people who he wrote letters to. So like we know Varys has a good relationship with the Dorne. So there's the Dornish prince, the new Dornish prince or whatever, I guess.
Doran
Um,
Martell's cousin, or
I mean, we
Darkstar, as
definitely
I
will
said
not
in
get.
the,
We will for sure not get fan service, and it be Darkstar. Like for sure, we will not get that. We don't deserve it. We're shitty fans. We can't even see Ghost getting pet. But
there's Yara. Yara, she's around.
maybe she'll show up after every big battle's been fought. Like I don't fucking. When is Yara? Okay, so yeah, we'll get Yara, I guess. What happened with the Tyrell army? What are they doing?
They were destroyed, weren't they?
Not. I mean, parts of them were, but remember, like
I
Danny
thought
didn't burn all of them.
I
Danny
thought
just burnt.
I thought she burnt like a lot of them, and what was left of them would have been brought into the Lannister army, right?
You think so?
I think so. Like Danny captured a
Okay.
chunk of them, and then the rest would have escaped with Jaime, right?
Sure.
I mean, the Reach is like so useless that Tyrion feels comfortable giving Bronn Highgarden. I don't know. I don't know what that was the fucking most what the fuck part of that last episode. Right? That was the last episode. That was episode 4.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
didn't see Bronn in this episode.
Well, I don't think we'll see Bronn again, to be honest. He just pieced out. He was like he went to return to his home planet,
You think so?
like Roy from that Simpsons episode of Itchy and Scratchy.
You
Uh,
really don't think we'll see Bronigan?
I mean, I wouldn't bet money on it, but my inclination is no, we won't see him again. Because what is there gonna be an opportunity for Bronn to show up again?
I
If
don't
if
know.
Tyrion is gonna basically be Dany's prisoner and probably get fed to Drogon too, just like Varys. Uh, Jon and Dany are gonna have some kind of showdown. Bronn has no relationship with either of those characters. Jaime and Cersei are dead. Qyburn is dead.
Qyburn's death was so anticlimactic.
It was. I actually like that. That was actually one of the moments that I appreciated. I was like, okay, cool. This character, we're done with him. Gregor can
Yep. All
literally
right.
smash his head
Peace,
in.
Qyburn. Oh no, Frankenstein. The monster killed Doctor. Yeah. So
Episode.
that happens. I appreciated um John's character for the most part in the episode, rather than other than just stood and watched Varys get burned. I had a problem with that. Um, but yeah, John like stopping the rape scene was good. Like that was
Yeah,
really
it's just very
cool.
true
Like,
to John's character in the show.
yes, absolutely. And like I don't think it's quiet. Like I love Jon Snow.
I do too.
Um, so that was really cool. And then him just like looking at like my question is like, how does this regroup? Like, where do we see this episode starting?
I have no
Like,
idea. Probably
like
with
how
the
does the
no.
conversation start between John and Danny? Like, who says like what the fuck for like, or do
Well,
they
it's
just
gonna
like?
start with the aftermath, where we're gonna get
Well,
like
John was
ten,
calling everyone back out of the city, right? So like,
right.
will we even get a conversation with John and Danny, or will John just like regroup and try to take the city now from
No,
Danny?
because she still has the dragon. She can't. He cannot defeat her militarily, right?
Arya kills the dragon, right?
Maybe like poor cat dragon. I have a lot of sympathy for the dragons. They remind me of cats. So,
One
um,
one of those things kills Rhaegal, and Drogon avoids 500 of them.
well, Rhaegal didn't have a rider. That could be their excuse. So, but I don't know. It was to create stakes. Well, what's so funny about their decision to create stakes by killing Rhaegal is that there still were no stakes in the battle. The battle had no tension
Yeah,
until Danny decides to blow everybody up for reasons that are just like, no, like I'm crazy. Like that's the thing that's so like it wasn't a closely pitched
it
battle.
wasn't tension. It was just like, oh, like they're gonna like once like randomly she got like 3,000 more Dothraki and Unsullied from nowhere. Like once we saw them regenerate and stuff, uh, we were like, oh shit, she's gonna take this city. It's over.
Well, they're actually just playing Game of Thrones Conquest, and she just waited for her timer bar to fill back up, and her army was
Yeah,
refilled, and
that's fair.
yeah, yeah.
They came out of the barracks ready to go. Um, and then we saw her turn, and this was like the big thing. Like we saw her turn and just like murder everyone.
I still
And that wasn't tension to me. That
well
was just me being like, what the fuck?
I think the tension that they were trying to create was will she do it or not, and it was clear that she was. I just didn't think it was going to be so like blatantly unnecessary. Like there was literally no reason for her to do that.
Yeah, they had won the city already.
They surrendered. And that's the thing. Like if there had been more back and forth with the battle, and I think that would have felt more compelling. It would have been more fucking compelling than just like, oh, we won, burn them. But and it comes back like it just and we're gonna and this is gonna be extremely divisive because there's I mean you can already see it in initial social media reactions. We're gonna have people who are like, Danny always was the Mad Queen. This makes perfect sense for her character arc. You have people like me who just don't find the decision to make this her very compelling. and are just upset that that's the decision that the showrunners decided to go. And then you have the Danny apologists, which I
Or
don't even know
worse.
like how that's gonna work. Like
My thing is
the Danny
like
apologist position held until this episode, and then it just all
I get
collapsed.
that history repeats itself, but it's like, but do I want that? Like, do I want that to be the point of like my fantasy series? I don't think I do. That's not the route that I want to take. I want like, she said she was gonna break the wheel. This, that. Like, just my God, it's just bad. It's just really bad. I just never thought it would go this way. That's maybe it's not that bad. I don't know.
I
I have
mean,
no idea.
it's just we had a very different. I mean, the fairest reading to both ourselves and to the source material is we just had a different reading, a different interpretation of where we thought it was going to go, and a different set of messages, right? Like if the messages
Right.
are history does repeat itself, this quest
War's
for
bad
power,
for the commons.
commons, which again is like the easy. It's like see the problem with the show and that argument and is that it's always done in the laziest way. Like the show does it in just the laziest way. And this episode, when it comes to making that point, was really lazy. It didn't. Danny going full Mad Queen and just deciding like that she's going to start massacring people because she's pissed off that Cersei just didn't walk out and surrender herself from the Red Keep, and like what they said in the thing that there's her home that her people built and it was denied to her, so she's just going to burn all these people. That's not a like an interesting way of exploring
There's
that
also
question. There's no tension there. There's no like.
there's also just not a lot of things the show can do well in that aspect. Like, we never got Cersei's thoughts about like her not going north. Like we never got Cersei's thoughts about like where's their war. Like we don't get those from her because like they're just not giving them to us, and like there's no dialogue she can have. Like who's she gonna talk about the undead people with? Robbie Strong and Qyburn?
Maybe
Could
Kyber.
fucking like it was just, and maybe like that will be done differently in the books, and like that's what I'm hoping for. And maybe they just didn't really have a way to write that out well in the show, so maybe I'll give that to them. But like, I don't like how Cersei. Like, I like that Cersei and Jaime died in each other's arms. If that happens, I don't. This like really, really hurts the Jaime and Brienne arc, which does like why do that then? Like I don't get it. Like why do it? Like why give that to us? Um, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I guess so. The question is like, do like a lot of this stuff is, and that it's arguing that people can't actually be shook out of the power structures and the structures of history and family and all those sort of things that we're all trapped in, right? Like that's the people in the chat are talking about Jamie's failed redemption arc, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like a fundamentally nihilist belief that people cannot in the end escape
Of their true self.
well, not even their true self, escape the weight of history, power, and structure. Which is like that's a valid message for any piece of fiction. It's an important theme to explore. I just don't think, and maybe I'm wrong again. Like I just don't think that was not the thematic message I took away from the source material. Like I took that it's about the complicated struggle that people go through to try to overcome that. Now, not everyone's going to succeed, but literally not everyone is going to fail, like has gone on the show. Like literally every character has failed, except maybe Tyrion and Jon, I guess. But Jon's the son of the cool Targaryen, so I don't know. The cool
I
Targaryen and the cool Stark, the cool hipster Lady Stark, and the cool hipster uh, Targaryen, and they made a perfect child. I don't know. But then Jon can't even escape that. Jon can't escape his destiny because he was born to be the best prince that ever lived. So like that like the side of the fandom I've always been on is the one that argues against that kind of like cynical nihilistic core that Martin shares, like, and we all read some of ourselves into the fiction, like that sentimentalist belief that people can change, even if it's going to be hard. It's not straightforward. It's not easy, and it's always going to be incomplete and a constant struggle. But that's what makes human life powerful and what makes human fiction interesting. But
Yep.
that's not but the showrunners and maybe Martin himself is on a different interpretive tack.
You might be right. All right, so looking forward to next week. Who shows up? Like, who do we not see again, and who do we see again?
We see
we only have one episode left. Again, so who do we see?
But we have 2 hours of an episode.
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay, an hour and 20 minutes. Well, we're definitely going to see all the Starks. Even if it's only for a few minutes, we'll see Bran.
Will we see Bran?
A little bit. I think we'll see.
Will we see the Bran warging to Drogon to stop Dany?
No. Bran is done doing anything interesting.
All right.
Yes, maybe Allie. He did something interesting.
So the thing I said in either the spoilers chat or does my thing I said after episode 1 come true? Like,
I don't remember.
So after episode 1, I said that I thought Sansa would sit the Iron Throne.
No, I don't think anybody sits the Iron Throne at the end.
You think it gets split up?
Yeah, I think Sansa is Queen in the North.
And does Jon live?
I don't know. He either lives and goes into self-imposed exile, or he goes over the wall to go.
Does he like Luke Skywalker it up? Just like go hang out up north with Ghost and the boys?
Yep. Or he dies. He and Dany die together.
So we 100% think Dany dies, right?
Yes, she's a dead woman. And Drogon.
Drogon dies too, for sure.
Yes. No more dragons. No more magic.
Tyrion dies?
Yes.
Okay. Dany kills Tyrion.
Yes.
Grey Worm. Jon kills Grey Worm.
Yep. Or Grey Worm gets killed by like a Northerner or Arya. Like there's a couple of wild cards that's difficult to predict like what they do in this episode. Like Arya is the biggest one. Like particularly now they decide to make Arya a superhero, and I am not a believer. When I say that, I am not a believer in that she's a Mary Sue. I think that's bullshit. I think they put a lot of effort into showing that Arya can do a lot of shit.
Agreed.
Whether they have been consistent in the level of shit that Arya can do, that's a whole different thing. But that's a storytelling question versus a character development question. But like where they end up with, like, does Arya running off?
Something more. Arya definitely has something else badass to do, or they wouldn't have showed her at the end of the episode.
Or she just, I mean, like, if she like the question is she leaving to leave? Like the Hound told her that like revenge is not worth it. Like that's kind of what he's trying to say. It's like it will just eat you up, and you will be a burnt man fighting your zombie brother, getting your eyes poked out, and having to fling yourself off a tower that's on fire. Like,
yeah,
it's, you know, or is she gonna be like, no, I need to avenge these innocent people? She could kill Drogon.
She's a Stark. She will. She'll do the right thing.
Maybe.
I think she'll do the right thing. I think
we'll
see Arya.
Well, we'll see her definitely, but I don't know like what role she plays in the episode. I think it's difficult to predict.
Okay, do we see Gendry?
Yes, briefly.
As like a post-epilogue happiness thing, or like he's part of the battle?
I don't think he might be. I think we're done with battles. I don't think there's another battle, like another actual full-on set-piece battle.
Okay.
I think it's just political intrigue and betrayal and burning people and behind-the-scenes fighting.
Okay. We don't see Tormund and Ghost again. They're gone.
We might, if Jon goes north, we might see them briefly in like an epilogue.
Okay. Do we see Brienne?
Yes. We see, because she's with Sansa, and we're going to see Sansa.
Always with Sansa.
Yeah. That's her duty now. What does she have left?
Yep. Okay, do we see the Dornish people, right?
Maybe. If they want to spend money. Are they going to spend money on Dorne after they just spent like a movie's worth of a budget on blowing up King's Landing? I don't think so.
Do we see Sam and Gilly again?
Maybe briefly. But we may not.
Just epilogue stuff?
Not even epilogue, like Sansa getting the news of what happened.
Okay.
But we got closure with Sam and Gilly, right? In the
we did
2 episodes ago. So if we don't see them, I won't be surprised. But if it is, it'll be brief, like Sam giving Sansa the message about what happened.
Do we see Pod, you think?
Yes, because he's with Brienne and
Okay.
has to encounter Tyrion again, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I think
Do we see Yara?
that's an open question to me. Maybe.
Do we see Howland?
No. The dream is dead,
Fuck!
Jesse. The dream is dead, Jesse.
Uh, so we don't see Mira, which is super upsetting. I feel like Mira would just go back and crawl in her hole.
Well, I mean, she was clearly wise to stay out of this bullshit. So, I mean, again, Mira in the books is one of my favorite characters. I feel
Me
like the
too.
show never
I
quite.
don't think we. I
Yeah,
don't think we see Nymeria and the Wolves.
no,
I think we are done.
that
with
we
them.
got closure with last. They explicitly said that. Like, that was
They
closure.
said fuck wolves.
They don't want to spend the money to do doggos right. Why spend money on dogs when you can spend money on dragons burning people, Jesse?
You know something we didn't talk about, but I guess we should touch on, even though it's the end of the episode. Like, Golden Company was like the biggest fucking worthless thing ever.
I kind of like that. If you had a moment, I kind of like that.
All right.
Like, I was just like,
Harry Strickland just getting blasted by Grey Wind.
Harry Strickland? You mean Grey? You mean Drogon? Did he get blasted? No, he just
No, he got stabbed in the back by Grey Worm.
did he? Whatever.
Yes.
Like, I have no investment in the show version of the Golden Company. Like, Harry
They
Strickland
should have gotten
not.
elephants, sure.
Why spend money on elephants when you got dragons burning innocent people down? Money, Jesse.
I'm saying Cersei would have won if they would have had fucking elephants.
Like, Harry Strickland and the Golden Company, literally, it's just a reskin of random. It could be the Second Sons. Well, no, because the Second Sons is what they said Dario's company was, right? In the show, I can't remember. It's not the Stormcrows,
Okay.
right? It's the Second Sons on the show.
Yep.
So it could literally be any mercenary company. It's just a reskin with Harry Strickland's name. Like, they're not the same characters. So, like, I have no emotional attachment to the Golden Company. I have a attachment to them as villains in the books. But so, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I thought it was kind of funny that, like, it was a moment of it was a reminder of, like, it was a kind of upturning the apple cart that I'm okay with. Like, Dany just burning the fuck out of bad people is it. I'm glad we got at least a little bit of that in this episode before she went full crazy for no reason.
That's fair.
Yeah, they could have put the scorpions on the back of the elephant, says Maddie in chat. So, right, that's Maddie.
I will
right?
say that ultimately, I am very sorry. I hope you enjoyed the episode.
If they enjoyed the episode, they're not watching this, Jesse.
That's fair.
We are a salt cast. If they're
I just like, man, like CT like has had to talk me off the ledge here. Like he's a firm believer that like the books won't do this. The books won't do this. The books won't do this. They'll be better. And I hope they are. I really do. Like it's my favorite series of all time. I have invested more time into a world of ice and into the world of Ice and Fire than I ever have in anything else, in my opinion. Like ever in my entire life. And like, God, I don't like the show.
Yeah, I mean,
I've invested 8 years into it. I just don't like it.
I
loved it before this season. Like I fucking adored it. Like sure there were parts that I didn't like about 5, 6, and 7, but like I still thought that it was going the way I wanted it to go.
it's going to be
like,
magic by next year.
He means Magic the Gathering.
Yes, I know.
And like it's man, it's fucking true. Like it's just like investing this much time into a series and like seeing it just fucking fail sucks.
Yeah, like I did not expect. Like, I was a hardcore Lost fan, not quite hardcore enough that I was one of the conspiracy theorists, like counting numbers, but I was obsessed with Lost and its characters. What was I going to say? What's the other one? Oh, Battlestar Galactica, which I cannot rewatch either of these shows. And in the mid aughts, they were in my early to mid 20s. These were like shows that like dominated my pop cultural experiences, and they are now things that like I cannot reopen and retouch.
And this was so cool, but like Game of Thrones being this popular was the coolest thing we've literally had. Like we are so lucky that we got Lord of the Rings in our generation, we got Marvel movies, and we got this. Like it was
changed
a
the cultural
breach.
landscape.
It was a breach from nerds to normal people.
Yeah, It's great.
And it was so cool that like I would, Game of Thrones started my freshman year in college, and like it was so cool to be able to talk to fucking normal people about these high fantasy books I've been reading since like sixth grade, and it was amazing. And now and I've never been one of those people, even though I've always been a book fan, I've never been one of those people that's like, oh, I think I'm better than you because I've read the books. Like, no, like I think it's cool even if you just watch the show. Like I love the show too. It's just different. I just want you to read the books. Um, I just like I I hate this so much. I've
mean,
never been
have you been
I've never felt more let down by something
have you
than
been
by a piece of media.
have you been part of a fandom that the ending failed entirely? Like
Have
we
I what?
have you been part of a fan? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Have you ever been part of a fandom before that, like a long running fandom that the ending like really failed before? Like the closest would be like
So
Harry Potter's ending is divisive, but I don't think anybody the majority opinion isn't that it's straight like Deathly Hallows straight up just completely failed.
so
And
like
same with Hunger Games, like again divisive, but I'm pro the endings of both of those book series, by the way. But
I liked the ending of Hunger Games. I wasn't a fan of the ending of Harry Potter, but I didn't mind it. Like it wasn't bad. It just didn't go so that's the difference. It's like just because a series doesn't go the direction I want it to go, and it reaches all my fantasy needs, like I still appreciate it. Like I don't like the ending of the Harry Potter, but I still love the Harry Potter series, and I think it has a good ending.
but if you
This is a dog shit ending.
yeah, but I mean fandoms, particularly fandoms that grow in on themselves, like a Song of Ice and Fire fandom has done / Game of Thrones fandom, like when it goes sour at the end, like when the ending just it doesn't even like not stick the landing, but like the gymnast breaks their leg open bloodily on the mat and is screaming for help. It just it's a bad feeling and it really gets poisonous. And it's something I like.
This is the worst I have felt about something like that, like in my life that I can't control since Warhammer Fantasy died. Like when they killed the game that I loved. Like
They hard
I'm
rebooted
just
it, right?
don't you ever say that. Age of Sigmar is not Warhammer Fantasy.
But hey, you can still play the Total War game.
I can still play Total War. You are correct.
It's still set in the old universe.
But yeah, I'm just let down.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't agree with the direction. I could have not agreed with the direction and still appreciated the show if it ended well. And it didn't. It is not. It's not over, but there's nothing left they can do to save it for me. It's over. Like it's for sure over.
Yep.
I don't appreciate what they did, and if this is Martin's direction, I won't appreciate the books either, and that sucks.
I mean,
and
this
that
is
breaks,
the open question.
That really breaks my heart.
That I mean, we're just all going to be staring at when we get to Winds of Winter. Like, there's some going to be clear differences, but I don't know. We'll see. I think are we talked out here, my friend?
I think so.
Because the salt is real, but we got to keep our blood pressure down.
Yeah, I think so. I'd be fine with that. I would wait 10 years for a better ending. Someone in the chat said, "Be right back." Martin spends the next 10 years writing Winds of Winter and a dues. Sure, I would be. I would be fine with that.
In and they just minigun on everyone and disappear. Okay.
All right. Well, we will be back next week.
Oh yes.
We have a very special guest. We will try to save CT. I guess we didn't look at the messages. I guess CT was gonna come on, and I just now saw.
Oh,
I did not see that. He was not gonna come on though. Forever. So.
Oh, I didn't know. I apologize, CT.
Yeah, I am super sorry. But we'll see. We'll see CT.
CT will definitely be on. I will work on him during the week.
And we have a very, very, very special cast. Someone I've been trying to get on a podcast our entire friendship. He is buying a webcam this week.
Who is this?
Matt Gaiman will be on with us next Sunday.
Whoa. That is amazing.
So there's a good chance we'll be shut down within 5 minutes by Twitch. But those 5 minutes
as
will
long
be
as
fun.
people maintain their clothes on, we will be there. That's exciting. I didn't know Maddie was going to be on it.
Yep.
So that's great. So we'll have a special guest. I really wish it wasn't a Sunday because I'd like to get roaringly drunk.
Me
but
too.
I have to work on.
I think I might either way.
but I can't do
Uh,
that. I have too much stuff to do because that's the week before my wedding. But and Benioff and Weiss gave me the greatest wedding present I could have possibly wanted. An absolutely hateful ending for the show that has dominated my life for my entire relationship with my soon-to-be wife. In fact, we
hey,
talked about it on our first date.
you guys can live in the salt together though.
We
She
can.
hates it
She's
too.
just as salty about it as I am. One of the many reasons why I'm glad to marry her. And she had the greatest review, which is where we should end this, which is that the true point of Game of Thrones is that the real enemies are the friends we made along the way.
That's right. That's right.
And on that note, we will see you all for a very special episode of Watchers on the Couch. Please tune in for. You're doing Wars to Come this week, right, Jesse?
No, that was last week.
That was last week, so it's every other week. I don't know.
Yep.
I will either be on White Book or Second Sons this week. I have no idea, but there will be
And I
some
won't
kind of
be on.
content
I won't
produced.
be on that week because I'll be going to Philadelphia for your wedding.
Yes, there will definitely be no content for me for a couple weeks after this one. So I'll see you all next Sunday. Thanks for joining us. We love you all.
Yep, we do.
Thanks for putting up with all the salt. Let me turn this stuff on. Transfer over.